watching America Trends. I'm Mary Burt-Godwin. And you know, I have mentioned a few times that I have a big birthday coming up in less than 6 months now, TikTok. And so fitness is on my mind. Fitness. It's been on my mind now. I need it in my body, which is why I have our next guests on the show, Erica Castillo and Maria Bardet. She's zooming in. She's going to come in back here. They are the co-founders of the California Small Fitness Facilities Association. That's a lot of words. CASFFA. And I have just heard about you guys, and I'm so glad you both could join us today, one on Zoom, and thank you for being here in person.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. And tell me, hi Maria, how are you?
Good, thank you for having us.
Yes, I'm so glad you both could join. And where are you zooming in from?
Sacramento, California.
Okay, so are you based out of there and you're based here in San Diego?
Mm-hmm. We tag team California.
Nice, I love it. Okay, so many questions, but first, I guess, why don't you start on how you two met in the first place and got into the whole fitness world?
Sure. So I'm originally from Sacramento. I got connected to the fitness community by hosting fitness events for years. It was like a side hustle thing to my full-time job.
So can you tell me like what kind of like a weightlifting convention or whatever it's called, competition, you might host it and be saying what's going on?
Right. So I fell in love with fitness because the small fitness facilities community, because there's so many different types of fitness methods. So one day I would go to a bar studio. The other day I would go to Maria's studio, Pilates studio, Humani Pilates. The next day I do boot camp. So what's unique about this industry in particular is that you really don't have to do the same thing every time, and you find what you love.
Yeah.
So when I hosted these events in Sacramento, what was really cool is we brought a ton of different studios together at one site. And so it was an opportunity for people to try different, styles. So it would be weightlifting, it would be yoga afterwards, it would be a spin class. It just depended on the event.
Yeah.
And if you weren't a fitness person, or if you're a little bit out of the game, you could find something that you love. And the idea would be that you would become perhaps a member afterwards, directly to one studio or another. So it was never just one type of, fitness type, which is what I loved about the event.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And then so you met Maria at this event?
I reached out to Maria to do an event. And then, we actually never were able to connect fully to have her be in an event. We always had something else going on, but we knew about each other because we also had a background living in Sacramento in politics. So I knew that we both were involved in government. She was at the state level and I worked in local government. I worked for an elected official.
Okay.
So I knew that at some point we were going to work together. I just had a feeling. We also worked on different partnerships in, the community with fitness events and stuff like that. And then when the pandemic hit, unfortunately, I had an event that I was working on, and instead of working on the event, once some of the restrictions started coming in, I got a bunch of studios together to meet with the mayor of Sacramento, and he, was listening to our concerns, the pain points of the small business owners, and Maria and I just really got together strategically every single day and worked on writing letters to the governor's office, to
keep
anyone
them open,
that
keep them alive.
Right. And historically, our industry is technically pretty new. The small fitness industry is, it's prior to the pandemic, it was the fastest growing industry, right? And so there has never been advocacy for small business owners. There's been advocacy for the large, big timers,
right.
The big corporations, but not for the small fitness, community. So
I'm going to just take a moment to ask. So Maria, tell me, okay, so you were both in Sacramento and you also worked in politics a little bit, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And so this association did not start until the pandemic, is that correct?
Yes, technically, yes. So as Erica mentioned, we really connected sort of in our mutual desire and our quest to help small fitness, specifically fitness, but also wellness facilities all over California, because as Erica mentioned, there really hasn't been any advocacy specifically targeted So Eric and I, as she mentioned, come from the political background. So as soon as she really got involved and she really spearheaded basically kind of this alliance of fitness studio owners to come together and, make our voices heard, I recognized that she was putting a lot of effort, a lot of work into this kind of thing. And she just wanted fitness studios to succeed, right? So I just started like naturally just pitching in and helping. And there I was like, this powerhouse of a woman is amazing. I want to just partner with her and help bring, just more recognition, more funding, more opportunities for fitness studios. And that's how we sort of forged a friendship, forged this association, and have been doing work ever since.
So then have both of you, did you reach out to the various studios and wellness centers that you knew in your area and then also on the coast? Is that when you moved down here, or were you already down here at that point?
I was already in San Diego, but we both are small business owners ourselves, so most of my clients are in Sacramento. So I'm typically going back and forth.
And it's a fitness business?
So no.
Okay. Oh, another business. You got a lot of businesses.
Because I have all the time in the world. So my full-time gig is marketing, PR, and advocacy for our clients that are small business owners.
Oh,
so
okay.
under that umbrella, nonprofits and government entities. So they're in all different industries.
Okay, great. So then you reach out to the various fitness centers and then ask them to be a member of the association. Is that how it works?
It's not a membership model.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
Yeah. So, but we reached out to them initially to just hear their concerns, hear their pain points. How can we help you? We wanted to make sure that when we started reaching out to all of the elected officials that would listen to us, what exactly do you need from us right now? And it's changed in the last, year and a half. In the beginning, it was help us, keep our studios open, right?
That was the biggest thing. I remember that. And a lot of places here just stayed open. The small businesses, small gyms that I know of,
right?
are just come on the back door.
Right.
I mean,
people were putting
they had to make money.
Mm-hmm. And we, because of our relationships, with the city and the state, we made sure that the studios that we were working with were doing their absolute best to keep people safe in their studios and their staff. So it was also, a few months down the line, it was more, how do we keep them as safe? Because we were still learning so much about COVID at that point, how it was spread. So, most of our studio owners were not used to checking in on press conferences every day, with the governor, with our director of public health. So we were the liaison informally before we created the association on interpreting some of, what was coming out.
Interpreting it was a whole nother ball game, right?
Totally.
I mean, you had to really pay attention.
Yes.
And a lot of different sources were telling us a lot of different things too. So it was like, what's the truth here?
Right.
And what are the legal, what can you do lawfully, right? And not break the law.
Yes. Yeah.
What are your rights as business owners, right?
Yep. And it was changing, every day, at the beginning. And so it has evolved. I mean, what we do right now might be different in 3 months, as far as our advocacy work goes. So.
And it seems like the fitness industry was one of the hardest hit because of this reason. A lot of places had to shut down. You sweat, you breathe heavy, you're close to each other, you're all touching the same equipment. And so a lot of it's indoors, but a lot of them moved outside. Was that something that Maria, I'll ask you that, was that something that you helped businesses get to do, was move, kind of give them tips as to what they were going to do next?
Yeah, at a certain point during the pandemic, at the height of it in 2020, we just, Erica and I were just offering support in various different ways and helping businesses figure out what is possible. Like, what does being outside really mean? Does it mean you have to have a complete, can a garage door be rolled up and can that be considered being outdoors? Or is it really that you have to go to a park to be outdoors? So we tried to navigate all of that. And then eventually down the road, Eric and I were able to secure funding from the government in order to provide small grants, micro grants to fitness studio owners. And then they used that money either toward creating an outdoor space or, paying back their bills or whatever they needed to do. But yeah, that was definitely something that was part of the things that we worked on, especially during that kind of spring, summer, and winter months of 2020. But there were some challenges, some real challenges, because a lot of fitness studios were not able to just simply go outside. They just didn't have those kind of spaces. Or if you remember that time, there was a lot of fires.
Right.
So
you couldn't
it was
breathe
just
outside.
yeah, you
Yeah.
couldn't really be out. And in Sacramento, it was like 105 plus fire season. So,
Right.
So it was a real big
difficult.
challenge, and we did try to help navigate that.
Okay, well, we've got to take a quick break. So I hope you'll stay here and come back because I have more questions for you. And everyone at home, stick around. We've got more America Trends right after this break. You can find us on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at America Trends TV. And we'll be right back. You're watching America Trends. I'm Mary Burt-Godwin, and we are talking fitness with Erica Castillo and Maria Bardet. They are the co-founders of the California Small Fitness Facilities Association. I'm going to somehow commit that to memory. There you guys are on your website. What is your URL, by the way?
I love smallfitness.org.
I love smallfitness.org. So you guys came together. Maria, we're up in Sacramento. You eventually moved down here. And what we can do, we can work remotely now. And it's great because you guys cover the whole state. Mm-hmm. And you basically help small fitness businesses, which, like we were talking about during the break, there are so many different types. So there's bar method, or all the different bar types. Mm-hmm. Daily method is one that I did for a long time. Awesome. Then there's weightlifting places. There's wellness centers, you said. Is that correct, Maria? You guys work with some wellness centers?
Right. It's wellness, fitness, the gamut of things. There's so many, as you said, there's so many different modalities. There's so many ways that people run their businesses. Nowadays it could be fitness studios, the way that you would normally think of a fitness studio. It could be a cooperative with a bunch of fitness trainers. It could be a health and wellness sort of spa, but that also provides, classes. So this industry is just so vast. And it's really made of, the large portion is made of these small, business owners, either one person, 10 people, 25 people. It's just, there's such a big range of possibilities in this industry.
What about dance studios? Do you do dance studios?
We do.
My kids are competitive dancers. So I'm like, I got one for you.
Yes, yes.
And there's actually a ton in their business park. I mean, do you go to, seek out different places and give them a call? And how does that work?
Yeah, so, in the beginning, thankfully, since we built relationships for years, with my events, you take different classes from different studios, even if you are an owner or an instructor, just to get to know what other people are doing. Mm-hmm. So we built a list. We're working with over 150 studios throughout the state right now. But when we launched our grants, we did a ton of cold calling, showing up to studios to make sure that no one was left out, that they didn't, not have the chance to apply for the grant. So we've done both, basically.
Yeah, that's great, because dance is big here in San Diego, so I can give you lots of names.
Awesome. Love it. Yeah, we love our dance studios, and they offer, kids classes too, so it's great.
So do you think that, obviously everything changed with COVID, and like we were talking about, things changed with people working out, having to go outside. So what does it look like in the fitness industry? Are you seeing patterns or things that are coming up in ways in which you can help these small businesses moving forward?
Sure. The first thing as far as trends right now in 2021, I remember right before the pandemic, I wrote an article about what was about to trend. It was the beginning of the year, and we saw there was a trajectory of virtual content that people were consuming.
Yes.
Before the pandemic, people were already looking for ways to save money, or save money, time on commute, whatever. So in general right now, the average person is looking for options, whether they're, streaming, on their mobile or buying, Peloton is really popular right now. However, there are so many fitness studios that are locally owned that are pumping out virtual content. So that is an option even if you love your brick and mortar studio, but you can never replace the in-person connection. So that's one thing. The trends are moving that way, pandemic or not.
Let me ask you guys a question.
Sure.
Because I know I have a neighbor who did this online. She doesn't have a brick and mortar. She taught at a studio, but she started her own online classes, and it's like a subscription model. Could she be someone that utilizes your services?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
I want to tell her about you guys.
Love it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so
because she's a small business owner, right?
Right.
So any fitness, wellness, small business owner doesn't have to be brick and mortar.
Okay, I have so many people, so many names.
This is
I'm going to
great.
pass on to you.
Come on down.
Come on down. Okay, and so what are the different? So I saw on your website it was like relief grants, which you talked about. Did you help them write the grants?
We
Wow.
created the grant program in collaboration with the city of Sacramento, and we are expanding to different cities right now in California. So, thankfully, we've already had these relationships, and we're basically just telling who will listen to make sure that when they're writing, they meaning anyone locally in the state, federal level, when you're thinking about small business and you are creating these grants, whether we're involved or not, to remember to not include the fitness, health, and wellness industry. A lot of the times these grants are inadvertently written wrong, and they're created for retail, restaurants, bars, and it's an oversight. So that's why we came into place to make sure, hey, we're here, we need help, we were shut down the longest type thing.
Right.
And with the most strict percentage of capacity restrictions too during
Well, and I will say that this is one thing I've talked about on the show is that a lot of people went towards the booze during the pandemic, but really they needed to be going towards the fitness, because that was one of the biggest things is like, I had all this fear about it. And then I remember thinking, really the best way for me to fight this fear and not have fear is to get myself healthy and get my immune system up. So it's like we should be pushing people to work out and get fit again, right?
Right. And, I never want to replace confuse mental health with fitness, or two very separate things. However, it's a wraparound. We can have a nice cocktail after a good workout, after a little bit of therapy. It's not one or the other.
All the things, right?
So,
but I do think that right now, specifically, fitness is a big push, right?
Yes, it contributes to public health right now in any way you want to consume it. If you're not feeling comfortable going into a studio, there's so much virtual content that's coming out, like your friends, that are small business owners. So we want to remind people, if you are consuming, these large corporation type of content, think about how can you contribute locally to your small business owners too right now.
Yeah. And Maria, what do you think is next for what you guys are doing?
Well, we have so much work to do. So, number one, our goal, the pandemic is definitely in a different phase, right? It's in a different, we're now living a very different set of circumstances that we did a year ago. We don't want to forget the fact that for a year and a half, small fitness and wellness studio owners were really struggling. So, they weren't able to invest in their business. They were basically just trying to survive. So we don't want to forget that and discount the fact that it has been very difficult. It also has been very difficult lately to retain the workforce that has stepped out of the workforce. That comes up a lot.
Right? We just had someone on the show before you guys, Dan, talking about the Great Resignation, and people are quitting and leaving, and
and rightfully so. They're rethinking their life. They're rethinking their opportunities. The pandemic, kind of shook all of us up in very different ways. And so we're dealing with the reality of potentially training a brand new workforce.
Yeah. Well,
thank you. Figuring out how are we going to retain the people that we do have, or moving forward as business owners, how do we make our business
world a better place?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We gotta go, but I appreciate you, Maria and Erica. Thank you so much for being here. Everyone at home, we'll see you again tomorrow night.